Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be using some Essentials by Ellen. These are the Ellen Hutson brand of stamps. I've had these for a while and just haven't had a chance to use them. So today we're going to be doing some stamping. I'm using Nina Desert Storm, which is a Kraft color of cardstock, and then I'm going to be doing some coloring with my colored pencils. The two stamp sets that I am using are called You Should Know. That's the one with the flowers in it, and the other one is called Thank You for Being a Friend, which if you do not immediately start singing the theme song to Golden Girls in your head when I say that, we cannot be friends. Yeah, because that's like a must. So basically just what I'm doing is I'm stamping down in some black ink, and then I'm going to do just kind of like a rainbow of colors. I do want to mention early on, because obviously these sales are kind of fleeting over the weekend. Ellen Hutson is having a sale. Theirs is like it's grouped in the Thankful group, and it's like 20 to 80% off. I've already been there and checked it out for you. You know how I sacrifice for you, my wonderful viewers. Go there and see the deals, and maybe pick up an item or two just for you. That's why I do it. It has nothing to do with feeding my own crafty addiction, right? Right. So they have tons of good stuff in there because Ellen is a full craft store. They have all sorts of stamps from other small businesses that are in there and are on sale. They have Lawn Fawn, Hero Arts, the Colorado Craft Company, in addition to their own stuff. Like this particular set is not in there, but they also have their Prismacolor pencils on sale, which is what I am using here for my card. They have some Zigs individual markers, in case we've talked about before how like my Zig Clean Color markers, I bought the 36 set, and then I just bought the individual markers that I needed. They have a bunch of individuals on sale. They have a bunch of alcohol inks on sale. There's just like so many things in this. It's like 91 pages. I didn't get through all the pages, y'all. Be real. I didn't. But yeah, so that's going on through tomorrow, like it ends on the 29th. So that will be linked below if you're watching on YouTube. It is an affiliate link, which means I do get a percentage from the Ellen portion, the company's portion. But it does help me to be able to create more content for you guys. So I hope you will check those out. Okay, so on to the coloring. My friend Lydia Fiedler, we've talked about this before, taught me this like white colored pencil technique. Basically, you use the white to maintain the brightness of your colors. So you put down the white first, and then you put your lightest color over it. Then you do a layer of white, and then you do your next darkest color, a layer of white. Like there's all these different layers of white in between. I've kind of adapted that to my own style because it just really is very time consuming. Now, when I saw Lydia do it, she did it in a no line coloring, which may be worth the time to do it. But I didn't do that here. I did use it to color in my base so that my colors would be bright because I love me some bright colors. And I did use it as a little bit of a blender at the end. But basically when you're coloring with colored pencils, you're filling up the fibers of the paper with the pigment. So you have to keep going over it and layering the colors in order to make sure all of those, like pores of the paper are filled up with color so that it looks solid and blended and beautiful. I do, like I said, a modified version of Lydia's. I would highly encourage you to check out her channel. She's amazing. It's Understand Blue is what she goes by in social media. And she's fabulous. But anywho, so I'm just going to go through. I originally because I really loved the black on the Kraft. Like it was just super stark because this is such a clean line image. I originally kind of toyed around with the idea of just doing white flowers and adding the shadows, which I do still think would be really pretty, and I may do it again or may revisit that idea in another card. But because I was just looking to kind of play around with different color combinations and things, I decided to do like a rainbow of colors. So I did purple, I did a lightish pink color, orange, yellow, and blue. And then obviously my leaves are green. I did kind of think, well, maybe I should mix in some teal leaves just for some more color variation. But because of the style that this is drawn in, I just really felt like it made more sense to keep them all one color. It reminds me very much of like a Paper Smooches style stamp. If you remember that company, they actually closed last year. My friend Kim Hughes ran it, and she was just, I mean, she still is just endlessly talented, and I miss her. I miss her style in the stamping world, but that was the choice, the better choice for her and her family. So, but it does very much give me those Paper Smooches vibes. So yeah, so we're just going to go through and color. As far as, like story time, several of you, obviously now we've been through the whole birth of Caitlin. And we got that done in 2 videos. Yay us. So, but several of you have asked how Peanut is adjusting. So we had, it's so hard because like when I was in the hospital having Nathan, first of all, it was not COVID. Second of all, he was my first child. So I didn't have another child to worry about at home. I didn't have to make arrangements for that other child because I wasn't going to be available. I was in the hospital. Like these are all things that just like add steps to your business. Now, I told you before when we had made arrangements to be induced, like that we had to find somewhere for him to go. Well, now when my water broke, he was at school. So it's not like I can go tell him, hey, my water broke and we're going to the hospital. So I had called my parents, obviously, to tell them like we were going to the hospital, but then to ask them if they could pick up Peanut from school, which they did. And then they explained to him that we were, in the hospital having the baby, and I was able to FaceTime with him that evening, which made it a little bit better. Now the current, I actually think it went back down to yellow, but it was orange when we were going in. So you could only have 2 visitors, and they had to be the same visitors. So you couldn't like have my mom come in and then Eric's mom come in and then my dad come in and then Eric's dad come in. Like you couldn't do that. They had to be the same 2 visitors. So when we talked with our OB, we had said like, the first visitor is Eric. Isn't that something? Like he's just as much in this, I guess I'm the patient, but like it's still his child, so I don't think that they should count as a visitor, but whatever, they do. And who am I? I don't work for a hospital. And then you're allowed to have 1 more. Well, we had told our original OB that our 1 more was going to be our oldest, our other child. And there was never any conversation about it. So when I talked to Nathan that night, we FaceTime him. We were like, Eric's going to come pick you up from school tomorrow and bring you to the hospital so that you can, meet your sibling. We asked him if he wanted to know what it was or what their name was. And he decided that he was going to be, surprised, which I think is wonderful because I love surprises. That's why I waited. That's why I waited 10 months to find out what I was having. But so then the night before we're having a conversation with a nurse and we're telling her like we're going to go pick up our son. And she was like, you're not allowed to have kids on the floor. Say what now? I'm sorry. Who, what? What's happening? Yeah. So she was like, yeah, I'll double check with the doctor, but I'm pretty sure that you can't have children. So now we've told him that he can come to the hospital. We've told him that he can come meet his sister. And now he's disappointed yet again. So Eric does go pick him up from school, and then it has to explain to him why he cannot come to the hospital. So we decided we were going to FaceTime him again, and then he wanted Eric to tell him if it was a boy or a girl, and me to tell him what her name was. So that's what we ended up doing, and he handled it amazing. He was so good about it, but you could tell he was super disappointed. So then Caitlin has, basically, she's jaundice. And the way that that works is because she and I have different blood types. So the antibodies left over from her, growing inside of me, attack her red blood cells. Her body produces more bilirubin than her liver can process, and then this creates the jaundice. And hers was pretty, it was, they were checking her levels twice a day, and they were like, not sure if you're going to be able to go home. Well, day 3 comes around, and basically they tell us that they're not going to let her go home. And if we end up having to do the lights, which break down the bilirubin faster so that it's manageable for her liver, then she would just be there as a patient, and we would kind of just stay in the same hotel room as a hotel with her while she did the lights. So now we have to tell Peanut that, again, we are not coming home. We have to stay. We have to stay a 4th day. So we do. We stay. He's, again, he's disappointed. What are you going to do? They finally let us come home on Sunday. And he was super excited to meet her. He was at my mom and dad's. So Eric went down and picked him up and brought him home because we wanted him to meet her before anybody else. And then we were letting, my parents or whatever come over after Nathan had met her. And at first, you could tell he was very excited to meet her, but he didn't want to hold her. I think she just made him a little bit nervous, which I know grown adults who... Well, when I had Nathan, my best friend, who was pregnant at the time, refused to hold him because she's like, he's so little, I don't want to hurt him. And I was like, you better get over it, girl, because your kid's going to be here momentarily, so you're going to have to get over used to holding a newborn. So, anyway, he came home, met her, and then we had our immediate family kind of shuffle throughout the day to meet her, because usually you have people who come visit you in the hospital, but that's not an option because of COVID, obviously. And I don't have any issue with that. It wasn't a big deal. It was fine that it was just us in the hospital. But I just really wish that Peanut would have been able to come. That was the only thing that was a bummer. And I'm not really sure what you do if you are parents that have older children or an older child. And back to the card real quick. So you just saw me use that little trick because I didn't know, with them being stamped off the edge of the card, I wasn't sure what was flower petals and what wasn't. And so I just took the stamp set off the backer and laid it over top so that I could see what was petals and what wasn't. So keep that trick in mind if you're kind of stamping off the edge and you're not really sure what's what. But I'm not really sure what you do if you don't have any family or friends who can take your other children, or do you just go in there solo without your significant other? I'm not really sure, but it's kind of just a suck situation pretty much. So as the days have gone on, he frequently asks to hold her. He wants to help with everything. So he helped me give her a bath. He doesn't change her diapers, but he'll stand there next to you and he likes to hand you the diapers or hand you the wipes. He's extremely helpful. The other day she was being kind of fussy, and it had been a while. She was just an overtired baby, and her little bouncy seat, which she likes, the batteries died. Why on God's green earth you would not have a plug-in option for these chairs? I do not know. The swing has a plug-in. The bouncy seat is a no-go. And it takes 3C batteries, and we are burning through them like crazy. So Eric actually just bought rechargeable ones that came in the mail a few days ago. So now we're using those. Hopefully that works out a little better for us. But anyway, so the bouncy seat had died. The little vibrate and bounce portion of it was not working, and she was very fussy, and I was, trying to bounce her and rock her and walk her and all of the things that you do when you have a fussy baby. And I look over and he is on the floor with the screwdriver laying underneath her bouncy seat to take out the battery panel to change the batteries. Like, I didn't ask him, he did it unprompted. Um, he was just awesome, and he's fantastic with her. He likes to stroke her hair, but he calls it petting her head. Can I pet her head? Can I pet her head? Because her little hair is so soft. So he's been really, really good. The other day I was trying to, Eric has been trying to let me sleep because he's a rock star husband. So typically we go to bed at the same time. He gets up and does her first middle of the night feeding, and then I get up with her, and do whatever, I guess, her first morning feeding. Sometimes that's 5:30, sometimes it's 7. It just depends on, kind of how her schedule got moved around throughout the day, which is typically her doing the moving around, by the way. Here I am outlining. I've sharpened my black color pencil, and I'm going back over and outlining it because I loved that bold black outline, and I kind of lost it a little bit doing the white coloring. Sometimes it went over the black and dulled it. I cannot use my typical markers for this because the colored pencils are wax based, and it won't write over them. I mean, it will, but it doesn't look great. So, where were we? Oh, I was trying to let Eric sleep because she had been really fussy in the middle of the night, and she had gotten up at, I think, like 2:30 for her feeding, and she didn't go back down until like 5. So that is a long night, y'all. I mean, that is a long night. So I was trying to let him sleep, but Peanut has to go to school at, we have to leave here by 8:30. Now, I was not allowed to drive for the first 2 weeks after my C-section, but that I have been cleared to drive now. Here for the sentiment, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this down in Versamark ink, and then I'm going to heat emboss it in white after I treat it with my anti-static tool. So her feeding time, she ate at 5:30, and then she was due to be fed at 8:30, and it's the same time we had to leave. So I tried feeding her a little bit early, but she was just like super lackadaisical and not interested in it and sleepy, and I could not make her eat in the amount of time that I had. I just couldn't do it, and I didn't want to wake him up, so I ended up packing her in her cart seat and grabbing her bottle and just taking it with us, and then Nathan fed her in her car seat on her way to school. Like, I gave him a burp cloth to wipe her mouth, and I was like, just let me know how she's doing, watching in the mirror, checking on them both. But, like, the whole time, he just had this enormous grin on his face. Like, he was so proud of himself for being able to feed her. And quite frankly, I really needed the help, so it worked out really, really well. So he has been a fantastic big brother thus far. He doesn't want to send her back or anything like that. Which we joke about because Eric is the oldest, the older brother in his family, and he wanted to send his brother back. I don't know if I'm the youngest, so I don't know if anybody wanted to send me back or not. Maybe Kim, probably not Michelle, because Michelle was 13 by the time I was born, and she was probably just like, it's fine, I've already dealt with the whole baby thing, because Kim's the middle child. So here, this is a little trick you can use to fix your white embossing. I didn't have it really filled in solid with the embossing powder on the left-hand side there. So I just filled it in with a white gel pen. Nobody will be any the wiser. And then to kind of help this stand up off the page and off of the coloring, I am going to just give it a shadow. So I know I've said this before, if you watch my videos for a long time, I learned how to do a drop shadow when I was in art class. So my light source is always in my top right hand corner. It's just what's comfortable for me. And so that is how I did my shadow. So if your light source is in the top right, then your shadows are to the bottom left. Whatever way is comfortable for you is totally fine. It will still work. Just make sure you're consistent throughout the entire piece, that the shadow is always on the same side. Also, be careful, because here I had no issues doing the shadow on the cardstock part, but anytime I had to go over where the coloring was, it was a little bit slick because of that wax I was talking about. So you don't have as good as control with the pen. So just keep that in mind. Here I have these gemstones. I'm just going to add a couple of white ones, and then that's it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I know it's been a really video heavy weekend. I hope you're enjoying them. And I hope that you will head over to Ellen to support them and check out their sales. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.